Welcome to Beyond Stardom, where we check out the downtime action of 5 of the world's most energetic celebrities. This supermodel made her acting debut in the 1994 Australian film Sirens. Since then, Elle Macpherson has appeared in 5 episodes of the sitcom Friends. She's also featured in Batman and Robin with George Clooney and had a part in the 1996 big screen adaptation of Jane Eyre. After being discovered while on holiday in Tasmania in her native Australia, Elle earned her nickname The Body by appearing in every issue of Elle magazine for 6 straight years, and by clocking up a record 5 appearances on the cover of Sports Illustrated's annual swimsuit issue. At the height of her modelling career, she tested her entrepreneurial wings by marketing her own calendars and starring in a successful exercise video. Then she put the years of swanning around photographic studios in her underwear to good use by launching her own range of lingerie.
I couldn't find for myself comfortable, sensual, playful, well-made lingerie. I couldn't find it, and that it was accessible and not, really expensive. So it was either really uncomfortable or really expensive. There was nothing in between. And I was looking for corsets, suspenders, quarter-cup bras, demi-cup bras that are elegant, because it's not always particularly elegant what's on the market.
She proved to be well qualified for the job when her intimates range became Australia's top-selling lingerie line. No doubt the success has been partly due to Elle's publicity-grabbing launches. In 2002, she invited the media to a pole dancing club, where models showed her underwear off to raunchy advantage.
I wanted to just do a very fun, bright, sexy, modern collection. Wearable clothes that was fun.
The range certainly got the thumbs up from the staff.
Well, it's sexy.
In 2007, she launched her new boudoir line from a bed in London's Selfridges store. She turned into quite a bedroom philosopher when it came to describing the new range's target audience.
Well, I wanted to create a character that was the sort of woman that would buy boudoir, and I wanted her to be multi-layered. So it is somebody who is interested in politics. She reads Noam Chomsky. She's interested in poetry. She reads Leonard Cohen. She's interested in music. She has old records from the Stones or from Brian Ferry. And
when it comes to finding the inspiration for her designs?
Life inspires me. I'm not going to turn around and say, oh, it's Marie Antoinette. It's just life. What do I need? What do I feel like at the moment? I have quarter-cup bras at the moment that I just think are very sexy and very beautiful, or little romper suits that I think are really beautiful as well. So it's sort of what I need, and then I just create it, which is a great way to be.
Off-duty, she likes to slip into something a little more grungy.
I've been wearing the same thing for 25 years, actually. I live in jeans and motorcycle boots or cowboy boots or ballet shoes or high, Christian Louboutin shoes, but it depends. Any kind of jean, from flares to straights to dark denim, light denim, white, and a t-shirt and a cashmere sweater, it doesn't really change.
And she's quick to dispel preconceptions about her glamorous lifestyle.
I don't have a stylist. I don't spend a lot of time primping. I go to the events for the events, not to be seen at the events. I try not to be photographed. I do the best I can to avoid the press, and I keep my head down. I do the work that I need to do, and I enjoy my life. I have fun.
And when she does go shopping, it's for a good cause. In 2006, she turned out to support Bono and Bobby Shriver's initiative to raise money for the Global Fund. The American Express Red Card donates 1% of each purchase price to help African women and children affected by AIDS and HIV.
I've been very, very fortunate, and I've always believed in giving back, particularly to causes that are close to my heart. And AIDS, obviously, particularly, women and children. If there's anything I can do, I step up to the mark as much as I can, and I believe that I have a responsibility to do that, A, as an individual, but B, as somebody who has some sort of power within the media to get recognition for a project like this.
This alpha male actor won an Oscar on his first outing as producer for 1975's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But then Michael Douglas did have a head start on many other Hollywood hopefuls, thanks to the hard yards put in by his father, legendary Spartacus star Kirk Douglas. However, being born with a silver spoon in his mouth did have its drawbacks.
As an actor, it was really intimidating watching my father because his persona, his presence was so strong and so dynamic that, forget acting, you just didn't even know how you'd ever be a man.
Somehow he managed and found early success on TV in the long-running crime series Streets of San Francisco. But it wasn't until the 1984 romantic adventure comedy Romancing the Stone came along that he hid his straps on the big screen. Then came blockbusters like Wall Street, War of the Roses, Fatal Attraction, and the sexy thriller Basic Instinct. But while he continues to churn out an impressive body of acting work, over the past few years, it's other aspects of Michael's life that have been making the headlines, such as his marriage to Welsh superstar Catherine Zeta-Jones. The couple met in the French harbour town of Deauville, and Catherine has since claimed that Michael's first words to her were, "I'd like to father your children." However, there was the small hurdle of Michael's current wife to get over first. She obligingly divorced him in 2000, and Michael and Catherine were married later in the year in New York, 4 months after the birth of their first child, Dylan. The 25-year age gap was a source of fascination for the gutter press, which also lapped up rumours about Michael's domineering tendencies. They made the news by suing OK magazine for publishing unauthorised photos of their wedding after signing an exclusive £1 million deal with Hello. The Douglases were back in court in 2005 to press charges against Dawnette Knight, whose obsession with the 59-year-old actor led to her threatening to kill Catherine. Dawnette was handed down a 3-year stretch on the eve of the premiere of Michael's documentary about his relationship with Kirk.
It speaks for itself. We're happy. It's all relieved that it's all over, and the chapter begins for everybody's life now.
Any disappointment at the length of time that she was given, considering she'll be out in the air?
No, I have no comment on that. She's been incarcerated for over a year already, and so the judge did what he felt was appropriate.
Proving himself far less vengeful than his famous on-screen alter egos, in real life, Michael is in fact a pacifist and an ardent campaigner for nuclear disarmament. In 1998, he was appointed UN Messenger of Peace, and in 2003, he and Catherine hosted the Nobel Peace Prize concert in Oslo. But in 2005, he came out firing at a Peace Day ceremony after the failure of UN efforts to come up with a way forward for disarmament.
The body should be completely embarrassed as to the fact that we could not come up with any wording or phrasing regarding the issues of nuclear proliferation, comprehensive test ban treaties, non-proliferation, as well as our small arms and light arms. And I think hopefully that the silence of that is going to be embarrassing and awkward enough for enough countries to go back and reevaluate and see if we can't come up with a plan.
Early the next year, he was lending his brainpower to an open forum at Davos on key global issues such as Iran's nuclear program, high oil prices, and the shifting balance of power in Asia. He was also there to accept the first ever Crystal Award, handed out by the Forum for outstanding contributions to humanitarian work. In his downtime, Michael and his family split their time between their homes in California, New York, Colorado, Bermuda, Spain, Wales, and New Jersey. With 2 young children to bring up, Michael has had to change his fitness regime.
I mean, you change your exercise routines because now it's all about lower back, picking up in this and your knees. But the amount of times that you're carrying, 40 pounds, your little toddler on your shoulders or all around is true, and it keeps you young.
And even in his 60s, the former heartthrob can still set female pulses racing.
I live in a house of women, And so these women say, you know, the first time I went to work with Michael, they said, oh God, how was it, how was it, how was it? And I mean, these women are from Brazil and some Hispanic women and some American women, and they were saying, how was it? They always, but they couldn't wait for me to work with Michael and ask that question. And, you know, I mean, Michael and I even looked at each other, that was pretty good, yeah.
This Oscar winner has been slated to play Anna Nicole Smith in a forthcoming biopic. It wouldn't be the first time that Charlize Theron has taken on a challenging acting brief.
We're giving the Spirit of Independence Award this year to Charlize Theron, and she is a big movie star, you're right, but what we love about her is that she's made interesting choices in her career. She's taken on challenging roles when she didn't have to, and other movie stars don't. And she's put everything on the line to get some films made like Monster, like North Country, that really have made a difference in the world. And she hasn't made the easy choice.
But then she didn't have an easy start in life. At the age of 15, she watched her mother kill her abusive alcoholic father on their farm outside Johannesburg. His shooting death was declared an act of self-defense, and the police laid no charges against her mother. 3 years later, when a knee injury put paid to her hopes of becoming a ballet dancer, she resorted to her second choice and bought a ticket to LA, and ended up being discovered in a bank queue. Her career took off in the late 90s with films like The Devil's Advocate and Mighty Joe Young. And since winning a Best Actress Oscar for her gobsmacking portrayal of serial killer Eileen Wuornos in 2004, she's been able to take her pick of roles. In 2007, she chose the Paul Haggis drama In the Valley of Elah, which tells the story of traumatized US troops returning from the Iraq War.
This film really is about putting back a face to the separate entity of a war that we've been talking about for so many years. Whether we should be there, whether we shouldn't be there, whether we should bring the troops back, and all that stuff. And we can have smart political discussions about that all the time. But what I think we have forgotten is that they're all real human beings. And at the end of the day, when we do bring them back, and when they do come back, and the 90% of them that do come back and survive, we can't just expect them to kind of go back to their everyday lives and not be affected by what they've seen over there.
It was only a matter of time before her passion led her to step into the shoes of producer.
It never felt like I put another hat on. You know, I've always been very intrigued and fascinated by the whole industry and making films, whether it was on the business end, producing and the acting. I was never one of those actors that showed up and said, I want to say my lines and go home. I was always like, well, what does the DP do? And how do you make this whole thing happen? So I'm fascinated by that. So it's a job that I really enjoy. It's sometimes very hard to call it a job.
She was tempted into the role of producer for the documentary East of Havana by the tale of 3 struggling Cuban hip-hop artists. A sucker for a hard luck story, Charlize has been very active in raising awareness and funds for charity, particularly in her native South Africa, where she has set up her own outreach program, which works to create a safer, healthier and better life for impoverished children and their families. She has no problem persuading her A-list chums to part with money to help buy mobile health clinics at her annual memorabilia auctions.
I've had a couple of these now, and we're collecting a nice amount of money, and I want to take a trip to South Africa personally to go and deliver that money to make sure that we can get these mobile homes into the parts of South Africa where I want them to go, where people are less fortunate, where they don't have clinics close by to get this medication to them.
Her humanitarian efforts and acting accolades helped get the attention of former South African President Nelson Mandela. Touchingly, the admiration turned out to be mutual.
I love you so much. Oh, I love you too, you know? Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
This soccer genius has surpassed David Beckham as the most marketable player in the world. Known simply as Ronaldinho, Ronaldo de Assis Moreira was born in Brazil in Porto Alegre in 1980. Even as a skinny 8-year-old boy playing beach football, he showed incredible ball control. Yes, everybody noticed that Ronaldinho was different. By his skill, his speed, even as one of the smallest boys, everyone said he was a soccer sensation. Everybody saw that he was a promising kid. But it was his older brother Roberto who led the way into professional football, and Ronaldinho got an early taste of the material benefits of a career in soccer when Roberto's club gave his family a house with a swimming pool. By the time Roberto's injuries had put him out of the game, his kid brother was making a name for himself at his old club, and he became Ronaldinho's manager. A move to Paris Saint-Germain at the age of 21 brought more attention to his incredible ball skills, and 2 years later he set off a bidding war between Manchester United and FC Barcelona. The Spanish club won out with a transfer fee of £21 million, and Ronaldinho inherited the number 10 shirt. Since then, the boy from Brazil has twice been named World Soccer Player of the Year. And Ronaldinho certainly hasn't wasted any time in converting all the accolades into cold, hard cash. In his home country of Brazil, he appears in adverts endorsing everything and anything from snack foods and photocopiers to chewing gum and computers. In the international arena, he draws a hefty retainer for lending his star power to global brands like Pepsi and Nike. In fact, he's become so tight with the footwear giant, they've even got him designing boots.
It was an honor to work with Ronaldinho, and I'm really happy of how these boots end up. And as far as these boots is designed specific to Ronaldinho to increase the touch 360 degree on the upper and then bottom. Also, we add these 3 color stitching to represent his elements in life: family, samba, and joy. So this is 100% Ronaldinho's boots.
Ronaldinho explained the inspiration behind the R10 signature. It is a logo which reflects who I am. I've always worn the number 10, which was the number worn by all my idols. I've worn it from a young age. The letter R is taken from my name and reflects who I am. Despite his obvious fondness for wealth and extravagance, Ronaldinho is also known for his generosity and simplicity, spending much of his spare time back at home in Brazil with his widowed mother and ploughing plenty of money and energy into good causes. One of his latest pet projects is the Ronaldinho Gaucho Institute in his hometown of Porto Alegre, which encourages underprivileged children to take part in sports and workshops. The institute was launched at the end of 2006, and as well as practicing sports, the children will take part in other activities such as drama, music and language courses. Ronaldinho's humanitarian efforts have earned recognition from the United Nations. After appointing him the official spokesperson for Sport for Development and Peace, he was charged with touring Latin America and the Caribbean, using his status in an effort to help eliminate poverty. Way back in the 1970s, this English-born Canadian actress starred in the original series of The Incredible Hulk as a doctor who knew the creature's secret. After that, she carved out a steady career on the big screen, featuring in films like Porky's, Police Academy and the Star Trek series. She also worked regularly in the theatre, but it wasn't until her 1997 casting as the man-eating Samantha Jones in the HBO smash Sex and the City that she truly became a household name. Since then, she's been lapping up the limelight and using her profile and sexually liberated image as a springboard for her 2003 book, Satisfaction, The Art of the Female Orgasm. She followed up 2 years later with Sexual Intelligence. Not that she claimed to have all the answers.
I don't consider myself a sex guru, and certainly not an expert. I think that I'm curious about sexuality, I think like many people. And because I played this sexual creature for 7 years, I think people look to me to express something sexually. And I think this could be quite a responsibility, but I have a sense of humor about it. I have fun with it. And that's what I'm expressing, especially with my second book, Sexual Intelligence, which is to bring intelligence, which everybody knows what that is, to something quite complex and mysterious and something that has been with us. We're all sexual creatures, but it kind of can be very difficult sometimes to understand and comprehend.
When Sex and the City ended after 7 seasons in 2004, there were plenty of rumours of a feud between her and Sarah Jessica Parker. One of Kim's first compulsions was to return to her first love, theatre. And her A-list status helped secure her billing above the title in her London West End debut in the Brian Clark play Whose Life Is It Anyway? Directed by Sir Peter Hall, the part of quadriplegic Claire Harrison involved spending the entire play flat on her back in bed, drawing some comparisons with her most famous character.
Claire is sexy even though she can't move. You know, sex starts in the brain. It doesn't start anywhere else. It really starts in the brain. And even though she can't have sex, she is still very sexual.
While she no longer has access to an endless array of designer frocks supplied by the Sex and the City's extravagant costume department, Kim certainly hasn't been getting about in slacks and sneakers. Although her own wardrobe may boast fewer plunging necklines and miniskirts than Samantha's, she's still been getting the thumbs up from the fashion experts and winning style awards. At a fashion show in 2007, she was happy to give away her secrets.
You know, I'm just sort of looking more for my closet, you know, on a day-to-day basis. I actually buy Carolina Herrera. People think that everything's given, but I spend time there and spend money, the hard-earned money there, and I just enjoy it because I can wear that more than one season, and it's beautifully made.
Again, in a sharing mood ahead of her new film, The Tiger's Tale, she offered some insight into the challenges faced by young stars like Lindsay Lohan.
Well, I feel for them. You know, my success came later in life, and I think growing up is hard enough on its own. Never mind putting everything that you do in such a spotlight. You know, I think most kids have problems, you know, growing up one way or another. Very rarely does anyone come out unscathed. But because there's so much attention paid, especially to these young girls, and you can see that they're really having a great time, you know, getting dressed up and being a movie star. And
she gave her take on how things have changed during her career.
You know, it used to be quite a period of time. You'd have to put in years and years. Or there'd be an exception, like a Hayley Mills or something like that. But you'd have to spend a long time at your craft before you became a celebrity. Now with reality TV, in a matter of 2 or 3 nights on television, everybody knows your name. And how does that work, you know? How do you integrate? It's like winning the lottery, but it's not just a big financial boom and you're in the newspaper one day. You become part of the consciousness, and that's a lot of pressure for a young person. I feel a lot of empathy for all those young girls coming up.